So we're going to practice loving kindness, this time focusing on the two stages. First of all, someone who our feelings are more indifferent or neutral towards, and then extending the practice to someone who we have some difficult feelings towards, somebody we find difficult or at least have found difficult on a particular recent occasion. So a few comments about the stages of loving kindness practice. So often actually people say with the so-called neutral person, that's often an unrewarding part of the practice, a bit boring, which of course is a result of the fact that our feelings are currently indifferent. But actually it can be especially inspiring. So one way to discover that inspiring aspect of it is to choose a person for this stage of the practice, and whoever we choose, keep that same person whenever we practice loving kindness or any other practice where we're focusing on different people and including someone we feel more neutral towards. So if we do that, then what is normally discovered is that as we practice for that person more and more, our relationship with them changes. We become interested in them. We become interested in their welfare. We notice whether they're looking happy or unhappy. We become much more engaged with them. Maybe it's a situation where we don't even speak with them, but at least our heart is concerned with their well-being. You could say we're learning to have love for them. So then if we can do that with one person, of course, the spirit of it is that we can then begin to relate to other people we're feeling different towards in a similar manner. And with the difficult person, well, of course, that's often a challenge, but it's also the case that it can be workable. First of all, we don't think of the most difficult person that we've known in our life. That might just be too much. So we think of someone where there's been a little bit of recent difficulty. And one place where we might get slightly sidetracked or flummoxed by that is where the person who comes to our mind is one of our so-called loved ones, someone actually we do normally feel close to, we appreciate. Could be family, friend, partner, whoever. And it can take us back a little bit if they come into our mind as a so-called difficult person. But of course, in close relationships, they're normally not perfect. People we're close to, we do have moments of friction, falling out, cross words. They provoke some reaction in us. So these things are quite natural and normal, particularly during the pandemic, where we might be restricted to our house much more, and we're sharing that with somebody else who we normally get on well with, we value in our life. But because of the situation of we can't get out and don't have so much time separate from our family or people in our household, then there's more scope for tension to arise. So this is a great opportunity to work with those sorts of feelings. And one particular element we'll also include in the practice is the simple recognition that other people are just another you. They share our same wishes to be happy, share our same wishes to be free of suffering. So a big element of the practice is really just seeing the other person as another human being with feelings. Because normally with neutral people, they're just objects moving around on the periphery of our awareness. Don't recognize them so much as a human being with feelings like our own. And with difficult people, of course, the moment they provoke fear or annoyance or anger in us, at that moment we develop tunnel vision about them. We tend to just see them as an annoying person. We lose our sensitivity to what they might be feeling. So we'll include those elements in the practice. So we start with settling into our meditation posture. Alert yet relaxed. We also let our breathing be relaxed and at ease, relaxing our belly. We can take a moment to reflect on our aspiration and motivation as we enter into this practice. So, what do we wish for? Maybe at this time in the pandemic, could be for the best health, to be free of fear or anxiety. Maybe it's to be able to live more in the present, less fearful about the future. Maybe it's to feel more connected with our innate good heart, our innate love, compassion, wisdom. We can also consider that everyone wishes to feel well, to be safe, to be happy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if this practice could contribute to that? We make our heart fast, allow it to open out, to embrace everyone, all beings, to wish that this practice contribute to the well-being of all. Now we can consider that we are in the presence of love. This could take the form of someone who for you is an example of love, someone you've known. Could be somebody you've been inspired by, some great spiritual figure, teacher. Or it could just be love as a presence of light, pure love. And whichever is the case, you just consider that you're in that presence of love. If it's a particular person or being, they're smiling lovingly towards you. We allow ourselves to relax in the presence of love, like relaxing in warm sunlight, easing away any anxieties, concerns, allowing us to relax into well-being. And in this presence of love, we can ask that love may unblock any barriers in our heart, melt away anything that holds us back from opening our heart to others, anything that blocks us from being truly loving and compassionate with ourselves. May we receive this love. May we be filled with this love. May it transform our body, speech, heart and mind into love. So consider this love flowing into us in the form of brilliant white light. The crown of our head, pouring down like filling an empty vase, so filling our whole body and being from the tips of our toes to the crown of our head. As we open to it and receive it with the phrases of loving kindness, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be happy. So consider that this blissful, healing love is filling your whole being, every cell in your body saturated with love. Every area of your heart and mind filled with love, radiant with love. And just rest in the confidence of that for a few seconds. And now we're going to turn our attention to someone who we have more neutral feelings towards. So it could be during the pandemic, we're particularly aware of our neighbours. If we're at home, just naturally more aware of them, whether we see them, hear them, or anything else. So it could be a neighbour who we don't normally give so much attention to, comes into our mind. It could be somebody we see in the supermarket on our occasional shopping trip. Could be someone we see on the TV, a newsreader, for instance. They're just delivering the news. We don't really think about them so much as a person. So just any example that comes to mind. Choose one person we're going to be thinking of as the neutral person in this practice. So whoever is now in our mind, see them in our mind's eye. If we can't visualize them, just have some sense of them. Maybe as they come to our mind, we might have some feeling for how they are, what their life is like. We may not know truly, but we might have some sense of the challenges they might face. What we can confidently know is that they have feelings just as we have feelings. made of flesh and blood. They experience physical pain or pleasure. They'll have all sorts of different emotions, ups and downs. And of course, they want to be happy. They want to be safe. They want to feel well, just as we want to feel safe, happy, well. Their feelings are just as real as our own. So as we hold a picture of them or some sense of them in our mind, thinking how wonderful it would be if this person could also feel truly safe, well and happy. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be happy. So see if you can just stay with the quiet repetition of those phrases, noticing when the mind drifts off, and coming back and using these phrases as a channel for our loving wishes for the person. And so now in your mind's eye, you can see them having received these loving wishes. Imagine them looking really well and happy, smiling, content. And now we're going to move our attention to someone where there's been a little bit of tension with them recently. So it could be somebody in our household where we've been with the same people, not able to go out so much. And even if we normally get on well with the person, there's some little bit of friction. They've said or done something, or something about them has been provoking some aversion in us, annoyance, fear, anger, anything like that. Or we could think of someone not in our household, but where recently there was some reaction, annoyance, irritation when we're out doing our shopping or in some of the interaction on the telephone or online. Not trying to think of some extreme example where it would be very upsetting to even think of it. Something where there was left some residue of ill feeling or resentment. And if no one comes to mind, just go back further in time until you think of someone who at least at some stage you found difficult. And so again, we Might have had many people come to mind, but to practice effectively, we need to just settle on one person. So we bring that one person to mind. And we become aware of how we are seeing them in our mind's eye. Are we seeing them looking in a way that we don't like? Maybe they're looking aggressive or something about them that's not so easy or pleasant. And just notice if that's happening. Maybe you can let go of that and maybe see them in a more favourable way. Think of them at a time maybe when they weren't upsetting us, or you weren't getting so annoyed or irritated. Maybe if it's a person we know well, there are things that we can appreciate about them. What do we value in them? Can we recall them bringing something positive to our life? And also, do we know how they were feeling at the time of this difficult interaction? Maybe there were things that were happening for them at that moment, so that they weren't so happy and they might have been acting out of that. Maybe it's something to do with their personal history that causes them to be that way, some suffering in their past. And at least we can see that there are just another human being like ourselves. They want to be happy just as we do. They don't want to feel ill at ease. They don't want to suffer, just the same way we don't want to suffer. They want to be in harmony with others, just as we wish to be in harmony with others. So as we continue to think of them, seeing them in our mind's eye, maybe in their more loving aspect, may you be safe. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be happy. Just continue with the quiet repetition of the phrases for a little while. If other feelings and thoughts arise when you notice that, just kindly acknowledge them and slowly, gently return to the phrases. So now in the mind's eye, see them as having received your loving wishes. They're looking truly well and happy, free from fear and anxiety. How we feel they would look if they're abiding in their true nature. Now we simply extend loving kindness practice to others, so everybody in our neighbourhood. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be happy. And then extending this wider and wider. It's like the love is extending, radiating from our heart around the whole world. For those living with fear, difficult circumstances with the pandemic, also, of course, the health workers, people trying to help us, help the sick, people going through other crises that we don't hear about because of the pandemic. May they all be safe, well, and happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. So we dedicate the practice for the well-being of all. And so just as we conclude, we can spend a moment just reflecting on how we would like to continue the flow of the practice into our daily life, so we can aspire to remain centered, not living so much in anxieties around the future, not getting too caught up in the world news, at least giving ourselves the space to be more at peace within, and to be conscious of learning to be loving, kind, and compassionate with ourselves, and loving, kind, and compassionate with those around us, whether they're people we're living with, other people we might have interaction with in any way, or the myriad people and beings who might come into our mind.